My brothers and sisters, before we speak of wealth or poverty, we must speak of dignity. There are many in this world who wake up each day carrying heavy burdens that no one else can see, empty pockets, unpaid debts, silent worries. Yet the greatest danger is not the lack of money. It is the moment you allow that lack to change how you see yourself. Because the day you begin to look defeated is the day the world believes you are defeated. I have seen men and women with very little stand taller than those who had everything, not because of what they owned, but because of what they refused to surrender. They refused to surrender their self-respect, their confidence, their belief that tomorrow could be different from today. Poverty may sit beside you, but it must never be allowed to sit within you. How you carry yourself speaks before you ever open your mouth. Your walk, your words, your calm in the storm. All of these announce whether you see yourself as temporary or destined. When you present yourself with dignity, even in hardship, you send a message to the world and to your own spirit. This situation does not define me. So, listen carefully. What I am about to share is not about pretending to be rich. It is about refusing to look broken. It is about understanding that confidence is not bought, dignity is not rented, and self-belief does not require permission. If you can hold on to these even in your hardest days, you are already richer than you think and closer to freedom than you know. There is a truth that time and hardship have taught us, a truth that stands firm. Even when circumstances are cruel, dignity is a choice long before it becomes a circumstance. Poverty may touch your pocket. It may limit what you can buy or where you can go, but it must never be allowed to touch your self-respect. The moment you allow it to do so, poverty no longer lives outside you. It takes residence within you. A human being is not measured by the weight of his wallet, but by the strength of his spirit. Yet the world often tries to convince us otherwise. It whispers that lack of money is a lack of value, that struggle is something to be ashamed of. This is a dangerous lie. When a person accepts this lie, they begin to shrink themselves. Their voice softens, their eyes avoid contact, their dreams become smaller. This is not caused by poverty itself, but by the surrender of dignity. I have seen that even in the darkest conditions, a person can choose how they stand. You may not control the size of your home, but you control the pride with which you keep it. You may not control the clothes you own, but you control how clean, how neat, how respectfully you wear them. These small choices are not small at all. They are daily declarations that say, I am more than my situation. Dignity is not arrogance, and it is not denial. It does not mean pretending you have what you do not. It means refusing to act as though your worth has decreased because your income has. It means speaking with honesty, walking with purpose, and carrying yourself as someone who knows that today's hardship is not tomorrow's identity. When you preserve your dignity, something powerful happens. You protect your mind from despair. You train your heart for resilience, and you prepare yourself for opportunity. Opportunity rarely arrives to those who look defeated, but it often finds those who look ready, even if they are struggling. Confidence, born from dignity, opens doors that money alone cannot. Remember this, poverty is a condition, not a character. It is a season, not a sentence. But dignity is permanent when you choose it. It becomes your shield in difficult times and your foundation in better ones. No one can take it from you unless you hand it over. So stand tall, even when the road is long. Speak clearly, even when your voice trembles. Respect yourself, especially when the world tests you. For a person who keeps their dignity intact, even in poverty, is already walking the path toward freedom. There is a quiet language that every human being speaks, even before a single word is heard. It is spoken through posture, through tone, through the confidence or doubt with which one enters a room. Long before the world learns your story, It responds to how you carry yourself. And this truth is especially important for those who are struggling, for those who feel unseen, underestimated, or weighed down by circumstance. When you stand with assurance, when you speak with calm and clarity, you send a message that cannot be ignored. You are a person who knows their worth. The world, whether fair or unjust, often mirrors back what it is shown. If you approach life as though you expect respect, many will offer it. If you approach it as though you expect rejection, rejection often follows. This is not because the world is kind, but because it is observant. I have learned that confidence is not the absence of fear, nor is it the presence of wealth. It is the decision to not let fear or lack dictate your behavior. A person may be struggling deeply and yet choose to walk with purpose, to look others in the eye, to speak without apology for their existence. That choice alone begins to reshape how others perceive them, and more importantly, how they perceive themselves. Your manner becomes your introduction. When you speak with respect, people listen more closely. When you carry yourself with discipline, people assume you are capable. When you believe in your own future, even quietly, it reflects in your actions. Opportunities often arise not only because of skill, but because of presence. People trust those who appear grounded, those who seem ready, those who carry an inner stability even in unstable times. This does not mean that life becomes easy. It does not mean that injustice disappears or that struggle vanishes overnight. But it does mean that you are no longer invisible. You are no longer dismissed before you are understood. By carrying yourself with dignity, you invite the world to engage with you on different terms. Remember this: how you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. If you speak poorly of yourself, others will feel permitted to do the same. If you show shame for your situation, others may mistake that shame for weakness. But when you hold your head high, not in pride but in self-respect, you draw a line that says, I may be struggling, but I am not broken. Carry yourself as someone who is becoming, not someone who has failed. Let your posture reflect hope, even when your heart feels tired. Let your words reflect belief, even when the path is uncertain. In doing so, you do not deceive the world. You educate it. And slowly, steadily, the world begins to respond differently because you have chosen to see yourself differently first. Hope is often misunderstood. Many believe it is something you feel only when life is kind, when the path is clear and the future feels secure. But true hope is not born from comfort. It is born from struggle. It is not a luxury reserved for those who have abundance. It is a discipline practiced most powerfully by those who have very little. When circumstances are harsh, despair arrives easily. It requires no effort. It whispers that nothing will change, that endurance is pointless, that surrender would be easier. Hope, on the other hand, demands strength. It asks you to rise each morning and believe again, even when yesterday gave you no reward. It asks you to remain composed when fear would rather see you panic. This is why hope is an act of resistance. To maintain hope in scarcity is to refuse to let hardship dictate your vision. It is to say, I see beyond this moment. You may not know exactly how change will come, but you choose to believe that it will. This belief shapes your actions. It steadies your voice. It guides your decisions. Without hope, even the strongest body grows weak. With hope, even the most limited resources can be transformed into progress. Composure is the visible face of hope. When you remain calm under pressure, you protect your clarity. Panic clouds judgment, but hope sharpens it. A composed mind can plan, learn, and adapt. It can wait patiently without becoming passive. In this way, hope becomes practical. It turns survival into preparation and waiting into readiness. Vision is the partner of hope. Vision does not deny reality. It extends beyond it. It allows you to endure the present without becoming trapped in it. When you hold a vision for your life, no matter how distant, it gives meaning to sacrifice. Every disciplined step, every small improvement, every refusal to give up becomes connected to something larger than today's pain. There will be moments when hope feels heavy, when carrying it seems harder than letting it go. In those moments, remember that hope does not promise ease. It promises direction. It does not remove obstacles, but it teaches you how to face them without losing yourself. This is why those who cultivate hope develop an inner strength that no external force can easily break. Hope must be practiced daily. It is practiced when you choose patience over anger, effort over excuses, and belief over bitterness. It is practiced when you guard your thoughts, when you refuse to let constant hardship turn into permanent hopelessness. Over time, this discipline shapes character, and character shapes destiny. So do not wait for conditions to improve before you allow yourself hope. Carry it now, especially now. Let it steady your steps and lift your eyes forward. For a person who can maintain hope in scarcity is already stronger than their circumstances and already preparing the ground for a future that will one day arrive. There is a danger far greater than poverty itself, and that danger is allowing a temporary condition to become a permanent mindset. Money can be lost and regained, circumstances can change, nations can rise from hardship, but a defeated way of thinking, once accepted, can quietly imprison a person for life. This is why it is not poverty alone that must be resisted, but the mindset it tries to impose. When a person begins to look defeated, they unknowingly send a message to the world and to themselves. That message says, I have accepted my limits. And the world, often unkind and impatient, responds accordingly. Doors that might have opened remain closed. Voices that could have listened turn away. Not because opportunity is cruel, but because it seeks readiness. It seeks belief. It seeks those who appear prepared to. All rise. Confidence, even when circumstances are harsh, is not deception. It is preparation. It is the inner declaration that says, I am not finished. A confident mindset does not deny struggle. It places struggle in its proper place, as a phase, not a destiny. When you carry yourself with purpose, you train your mind to search for solutions instead of surrender. You begin to notice chances others overlook. You respond differently, act differently, and over time live differently. Poverty becomes most powerful when it convinces you to think small, when it teaches you to expect less, to dream less, to speak less. This is how it extends its stay. But when you guard your mindset, when you refuse to let hardship define your identity, you weaken poverty's grip. You may still struggle, but you struggle forward, not downward. I have seen that opportunity often arrives quietly. It does not announce itself with certainty. It tests first. It observes how you carry disappointment, how you handle rejection, how you speak about your future when your present is difficult. Those who carry confidence, calm, steady, disciplined, signal that they are ready to receive more responsibility, more trust, more chance. A strong mindset is built daily. It is built when you refuse to speak poorly of yourself. It is built when you stand tall even when results are slow. It is built when you invest in learning, in self-control, in patience, even when rewards are not immediate. These choices may seem invisible, but they are shaping your future long before change becomes visible. Remember this always. Poverty is temporary when mindset remains strong, but poverty can become permanent when mindset collapses. Do not let today's lack convince you that tomorrow is closed. Carry confidence not as pride, but as faith in your own becoming. Stand as someone who expects growth. Speak as someone who believes in progress. Walk as someone who knows that this chapter will not define the whole book, for when mindset remains free, opportunity eventually follows. And when opportunity arrives, it will recognize you by the confidence you carried long before you had proof. There is a kind of wealth that cannot be counted, stolen, or taken away by circumstance. It does not sit in banks or possessions, yet it determines the direction of a person's life more powerfully than money ever could. This wealth lives within, the wealth of dignity, discipline, self-belief, and moral strength. Without it, outer success is fragile. With it, even the poorest conditions can become the beginning of freedom. When hardship enters a life, it tests more than resources, it tests character. It asks a silent question: will you allow your situation to define your worth, or will you protect what is most essential within you? Those who lose their inner wealth, who surrender their self-respect, their values, their sense of purpose, may one day gain money, but they often find themselves still poor in spirit. But those who guard their inner wealth, even when they have nothing else, are already moving forward. Dignity is the cornerstone of this inner wealth. It is the decision to treat yourself with respect when the world may not. It is choosing honesty over desperation, patience over bitterness, and principle over short-term relief. These choices are not easy, especially when survival feels urgent. Yet they shape the kind of future you are building. A person who preserves dignity in hardship is quietly training themselves for responsibility, leadership, and freedom. Inner wealth also includes discipline, the ability to remain steady when life is unstable. Discipline keeps hope practical. It guides daily actions, even when motivation is low. It says, I will still rise early. I will still learn. I will still improve what I can. These habits may seem small, but they accumulate into strength. They prepare a person not only to escape hardship, but to sustain success when it finally comes. Self-belief is another form of inner wealth, not blind confidence, but a grounded belief that you are capable of growth. This belief shapes how you speak, how you listen, how you respond to opportunity. People sense it, they trust it, they invest in it. Long before circumstances change, inner belief begins to alter relationships, decisions, and direction. Freedom, my friends, is not only the removal of chains, it is the presence of self-mastery. A person who remains dignified in struggle is already free in the most important sense. They are not ruled by shame, they are not controlled by despair. They may be limited in resources, but they are not limited in spirit. Outer change follows inner readiness. When opportunity arrives, and it always comes eventually, it stays longer with those who are prepared. Inner wealth ensures that success does not corrupt, that power does not destroy, that freedom is used wisely. So protect what is within you. Guard your dignity, strengthen your discipline, nurture your belief. For when inner wealth is intact, outer change is not a question of if, but when. And when that change comes, it will recognize you as someone who has been walking toward freedom all along.